I'm Amy, sex educator, sex and relationship coach, and co-owner of PurePleasureShop.com.
And I'm April, sex toy maven, VP of Hot Octopus, and I've dedicated my life to the business of sex. We're two people with a passion for educating and inspiring shame-free conversations about sex and relationships. Welcome to the Shameless Sex Revolution.
Want to learn more? Go to shamelesssex.com. And for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, go to PurePleasureShop.com.
You are listening to a pleasure podcast. For more from our sex podcast collective, visit pleasurepodcasts.com.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the Shameless Sex Podcast. So this is a test, everyone, because we are officially recording from our new studio. We're recording in our studio.
We need to take actual we took videos during the process of when we were kind of organizing everything and getting it looking beautiful, and now it's fully functional, and we even have a fridge for wine. We have brick, and we even have wood.
We have dogs.
No, we don't. Not in here. We locked them in my house.
Yeah, they're not allowed. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful studio, and I want to give a shout out to our dear friend Ian Stratton for these mics that we are using. We love you, Ian. I don't know if you're listening, but you better be listening to this episode because it's with Susan Bratton on fucking mastery, how to be a master fucker.
Susan fucking Bratton on fucking mastery.
On how to fuck real damn good. So it's going to be a really fun episode.
If you are allergic to the word fuck, you might, this is a disclaimer.
Like my mother?
You might have a reaction.
Mom.
Janice.
That's
you.
Janus. Well, she says she has a visual memory, so when you say fuck and shit, she pictures fucking and shitting. But we are talking about fucking, so you should actually picture fucking on this. That makes sense. Whereas if I were to say fuck you to someone, which it's not the nicest thing to say, she would envision people having sex, which actually is a nice way to look at it.
Well,
it's a great,
consensual.
great twist. I'm pretty sure you say shit somewhere in here. And
shit sandwich.
Well, yeah, we say that often.
I say shit somewhere in here.
All right, we're going to dive in the episode, but first we have, it's a combo feedback / question from a listener, and I'll just dive on in. So this listener said, I just listened to episode number 260 with Fabienne, and most of the references to sex sounded like sex only happens when there's a penis in a vagina. What was the episode? It was semen retention and how to be a master of your own cock, right?
Nice,
okay.
Amy.
Nice.
Whoa. Have you been eating your ginkgo biloba?
Oh, no, I've been having lots of fish oils.
Oh, damn.
I know I'm preaching, and my magnesium. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but that seemed limiting. Since cancer surgery some years ago, I don't get erections and rarely have ejaculatory orgasms, and I still have great fun sex doing everything else that doesn't need an erect penis. Many of the issues mentioned around erections and ejaculation could be minimized by suggesting more time playing before penis and vagina sex happens, or by taking the penis out and doing other things for a while to avoid spurting before you want to. I was surprised these options didn't get talked about, but maybe I missed something.
Well, this episode, we do talk a lot about the foreplay as well. So listen closely.
And there is a strong emphasis on penis and vagina sex also in this episode as well. And I don't exactly recall what was said with Fabienne. I think she was talking about a very specific thing, which was it was about semen retention. That was like the overall topic. And semen retention, I guess that still would apply to non-penis and vagina sex because you could just be grinding the soft cock or the cock, the hard cock outside of a body that didn't have to do with an orifice and still come sooner than you wanted to. So like that doesn't necessarily have to apply to being a hard cock or to a cock inside of an orifice. But for the intention of that episode, that was kind of the focus there. So, but this listener is right. It's not all about penis and vagina sex. It's not all about a hard cock. It's not all about ejaculation. And, people can have orgasms without ejaculating. And there's many ways to be sexual. So I guess, or I'd say we didn't mean to be limiting in that sense. And we are huge advocates of not putting all the focus on a hard cock or on coming, and no matter what your body is, what your bits are. It's just, we do think that is limiting when we just focus on that. I think it was just part of what the episode was focusing on.
And I believe there are only a certain number of minutes we have each episode in the interview to give you the most compact and but useful information in that time frame. So sometimes we focus more on specific topics that the the interviewee feels the most confident about speaking to and feels their expertise lies within.
Yeah.
So there could be, there's so many episodes out there. We've talked a lot about folks that have ejaculatory stuff that whether it's related, this person said cancer, it could be related to SSRIs. We've had other experts on that do dive more deeply into those topics. I don't have the episode numbers right now, so I'm going to put all of you listeners out there
Go
on
do your
the
homework.
research. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, and I'm a huge fan of playing in all kinds of ways, whether it's foreplay before sex or it's its own type of sex that doesn't involve a cock inside of me. I'm a huge fan of that. In fact, it's kind of like some of my favorite. I do like, penetrative sex. And some of my favorite stuff is all the build up, the anticipation, or just the sexual connection being all this other stuff that doesn't involve a hard cock inside of me. And then sometimes I'm like, I want the hard cock or a dildo or whatever, mostly a cock. I'm not really that into
the
dildos.
warm up is everything. Susan really goes into how important it is in this episode. I won't do any sort of a spoiler alert or anything. I'm not going to give anything away. I want you to listen. However, I know from a personal experience as well, same as you, I really need the bits to be warmed up, and I know a lot of penis owners out there feel the same way.
Well, and I think that this is focusing not just on it being a warm-up thing, though. It can be its own event, right?
Yeah.
So, like, not just focusing on it's always warm-up so that we can't put a hard thing into an orifice, that the event can just be all the other things that don't involve the hard thing in an orifice, whether someone has an erection or ejaculatory issue or not. And I think that's very true. So I think it's a valid point. And we did that soft cock. How to have the soft cock play with
Sluts
the
and
Sluts
Scholars.
and Scholars. Yeah, if you look up Sluts and
Nicoletta?
Scholars. Yeah. And we talked all about that. We were praising soft cock play and that it doesn't have to be about that. There's
That's
so many
when we
things you
used
could
to
do.
travel. We were
I
in
know.
Brooklyn then.
We're going to see her in April, though,
I hope so.
for our retreat. Well, thank you for this feedback / question. We really appreciate it. We welcome everyone to write into us and send us your questions. We can't answer all of them. And we also welcome feedback. The way we love feedback, especially if it's really good feedback, aka 5 stars, is if you go to iTunes and you write a review about us there.
You have to search for our it gets a little tricky, by the way, because I ask people, I don't tell them, but I try to guide them on how to do it. You have to search for us in the iTunes app. Search Shameless Sex. Even if you subscribe, then you go to our reviews and then you say write a review.
Yeah.
So you have to actually do that step, though. You can't just search for us and give us.
And
5
if you don't have a
stars.
lot of time, like you said, April, you can just put an emoji, I love
Totally.
this podcast, but it helps us get the message out there and it helps us grow. And
Please remember, don't do the 3 stars and I love them so much, because that has happened several
Yeah.
times. My favorite
that affects
podcast
us.
ever, 1 star. And I
Yeah.
was like, did they really? What?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Well, and the beauty is it helps us get into places where people don't have access to sex positivity. They can't go take workshops. It's not the general consensus of the community that they're in or the country. And we have listeners all over the globe now. So you're doing a public service, not announcement, but service.
Public service.
Yeah, public service by doing that. So if you want to press pause right now and do that, and then you can listen to us again in 10 seconds.
That reminds me of that song, Heal the World, Make It a Better Place.
Is that Michael Jackson?
Yes, probably.
For you and for me. Okay, I won't do that right now.
Okay, let's ready for a bio.
Let's ready.
Although I do love when you sing.
No, we're going to sing in one of the ads on this episode.
Don't. God, Amy, spoiler alert.
No, but I want them to hear the ad.
All right, listen to the ad. We are going to sing
This is an ad, though. This is a bio.
a little ditty. Okay, here comes the bio, though. Susan Bratton, intimacy expert to millions, is a champion and advocate for all those who desire intimacy and passion their whole life long. A best-selling author and publisher of 34 books and programs, Susan has been featured in the New York Times, on CNBC, and The Today Show, as well as frequent appearances on ABC, CBS, The CW, Fox, and NBC. You can find The Susan Bratton Show at betterlover.com and her Lust for Life supplements, Flow and Desire, at the20store.com. That's the20store.com.
Here we go. All right, everyone. It is episode time, and we are here with repeat guest Susan Bratton.
Susan fucking Bratton.
Susan motherfucking Bratton. She is the expert educator to millions of humans all about sex, how to have amazing, mind-blowing sex. And this episode, we're going to say fuck a lot because it's about fucking mastery, meaning how to master fucking, the art of fucking, having sex. If you do not like the word fuck, this might not be your episode. Sorry, Janice, also known as my mom. You might want to tune out or take some deep breaths because you're going to hear fuck, 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 and more fuck.
Fuck is the best word. It's an adjective, a verb, a superlative.
Did you learn that from Osho? Did you see that video?
No.
Oh my God. Oh, okay. Anyways, I'll show the video later. He says that. He's like, you can use it for everything.
You can really use it for everything.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck yeah, to I want to fuck, to fucking mastery.
So fuck you. Anyways, so let's start with the same prompt that we give all of our listeners. Even though you've been on our show multiple times, Susan, can you please tell us how you got to where you are today in the field of sexuality?
Fucking a lot.
That makes perfect sense. Uh-huh.
I fucking fucked myself to death.
Mic drop. Episode over.
Yeah. Well, really, I mean, I think that if you're going to be a sexpert, if your title is going to be trusted hot sex advisor to millions, you better have done some motherfucking fucking. That's number one. Really, the short story is that this is my second career. I'm 60 years old. I'm having the best sex of my life. I have 2 companies in the sexuality space. One is a publishing company. And what I do is I publish passionate lovemaking techniques. I basically explain to people how to transform having sex into making love, how to make sex hot, really turned on, completely satisfying, how to make it so that you just you fucking love to fuck, basically, is what I do. And the second company that I have is a supplement company called The 20. And I have sexual vitality supplements. Number 1 supplement is called Flow for blood flow. And the number 2 product I have is called Desire, which is a daily vitamin that has libido botanicals in it. Because for a lot of people, they want sex, but they don't feel like they just can't quite get there. And then a lot of people are like, horny all the time, but never have sex. There's a lot of kind of unmet desire in sexuality. And so what I try to do is I try to close the gap by teaching people sexual skills. And it's interesting because you can make a baby really easily, like intercourse itself and having a climax and making a baby and conception. Those are things that you don't necessarily need anyone to tell you. You can kind of figure it out yourself, but you can't really figure out how to be a fan-fucking-tastic lover unless you actually either end up having sex with someone who is really good and teaches you a few things, or having sex with a number of very good lovers, which very few people do. Most people have sex with a lot of really shitty lovers. I know I have. I know you have.
Yeah, we have. Let's be honest.
I mean, it's basically the blind leading the blind out there. And so the thing about sex is that really good lovers learned how to do it. These are learned skills, whether it's learning how to have the 20 different kinds of orgasms that the male and female body can have, or it's learning how to be a good lover, actual penis and vagina sex, which is what I wanted to talk to you about today. Because I've been teaching sex techniques, expanded orgasm, female ejaculation, which is what I was talking about the last time we got together, how to talk dirty without it feeling yucky, how to talk dirty without feeling weird. That's something that I've been doing for a long time. But most recently, what I've been focused on is what I would call making whoopee 3.0, which is actually intercourse. Because if you're in a heterosexual monogamous relationship, which most people are or want to be, that's the norm. The big middle of the bell curve is a guy and a girl having sex together. Not that any gender expression or any sexual experience that's out there is any worse or better. It's not. It's just the most common thing. And we can talk about great oral techniques, and we can talk about sensual massage and yoni massage and lingam massage and great kissing techniques and dirty talk and all these different aspects of sex. But when it comes down to it and you've got a dick and a pussy, you should know how to use them really well together. And so when I had the opportunity, when I reached out to you and I was like, you guys, I want to come back on and talk about fucking. And you were like, okay. I thought this is really the right thing to be talking about. If you want to talk to a sexpert about how to be a great lover, let's talk fucky.
Well,
let's talk.
That's exactly the next question too. It's like, let's talk about fucking, because you are a great expert about what your topics are. You know a lot about. That's why you call yourself you are the sex advisor to millions for reasons, and we love your energy. You're always like such an incredible guest, because you bring this vibrance and good energy, and you're 60, but really I think probably in your 20s with
she's younger than us, that's for sure.
So in your opinion, when we're talking about fucking, I don't want to start off on a weird note, but the issues that come into play in terms of fucking, can we talk about some of those issues, whether you have a penis or a vulva or whatever you're rocking down under?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do mostly in this conversation, just to keep it simple, is talk about a penis and a vagina together, a penis and a vulva together, because those are the goes in and goes out as that really you're talking about with intercourse. And at the end, we can talk about strap-ons. We can talk about pegging. You don't have to have a dick. You can add a dick. You can get a dick, which is great. And 90% of what I'm going to say still works whether you're strapping a dick on or you actually are a dick owner. So that's okay. And the first thing that I think I want to talk about is what people don't understand about penis and vagina sex, intercourse, penetration, coitus. These are all different words for fucking. And the first one is that I'd say the biggest issue is that men come faster than they want to, and women have a hard time orgasming strictly from intercourse. And I see a lot of sex experts out there saying, you should spend all your time on the clitoris and don't worry if you can't have an orgasm from intercourse. Intercourse isn't that important. It should just be a part of what you do. It's okay for it to just feel good and be nice and be close. And I call bullshit on that entire thread. I disagree vehemently with that. I actually think that the people who kind of downplay intercourse in a primarily heterosexual monogamous world of fuckers is the issue with that is that they literally just haven't learned how to do it yet. And so they think it's not important. And so they're circumventing it. If you come to fucking with the opinion that, oh, it's just a learned skill. Most women don't automatically orgasm from intercourse without knowing what to do. And if all you need to know is that you can learn how to come really well from being fucked and fucking, then you're like, oh, okay, so what do I need to do? And that's the mindset that I really want to start the conversation with today is, okay, let's talk about what are the things you can do to learn to come really well. Because what got me into being a sexpert was that I stopped wanting to fuck my husband because I wasn't coming from intercourse. And I fucked him for over a decade. I was a very good girl, but I got bored. It wasn't any good for me. I wasn't coming. I couldn't come unless I used my vibrator on my clit. I didn't know what I didn't know. And what I didn't know was that we had to learn how to make me come from intercourse. Now, I've been married to him for 30 years. And I come all the time, every time. I love intercourse. It's my favorite way to come. And not that I don't have like a very close number 2, 3, 4, and 5, which we can also talk about at some other time. But I'm giving myself the best orgasms of my life from penetrative intercourse. And a big part of what people don't understand is that for men, their penises get erect really fast because the channels of spongy tissue in their dick fill up with blood and it runs in there fast and it locks and makes them hard and they are ready for penetration. When they get turned on, they're ready for penetration. And I believe that that's because when women are in the mood to fuck, we want to fuck more than one person. We want to fuck a bunch of people in a row. And I think we want to do that because we have that ability to conceive when we get a lot of really good sperm. Plus, semen is very good for us, and it has a lot of things in it for cognitive function, menses regulation, even postmenopausal hormonal regulation, happiness with all the serotonin that's in it. So for most people being heterosexual, they like the feeling of the intimacy of penetration, the closeness of penetration, the biochemical reactions of penetration, the hormone releases of penetration. And so if we understand that we just need to learn how to do it well, and we go on that journey to do so, we can have really incredibly pleasurable sex. But because women are innies instead of outies, we have the same amount of erectile tissue as our male-bodied penis-owning partners, but it takes us longer to get the blood flowing into them. I've been using an analogy recently. I'm going to make you hungry, Amy and April, because it's my English muffin analogy. You know how you get an English muffin out of the little plastic wrapper and you open it and you stick it in the toaster and you press it down and it pops up and you're like, oh, it's not toasted enough yet. You press it down again and then it pops up and it's nice and brown. And then the butter's hard and you cut it really hard with the knife and you lay it in there and then you smush the two sides together and then it melts and the butter melts into all those nooks and crannies. And that took a while to make that happen. That's our pussy. Basically, that's the blood flow and how long it takes us to get the same amount of blood flow that we need for the same amount of erectile tissue has to go through 3 different erectile tissue chambers that embrace our vaginal area like a beautiful golden bracelet. There's the clitoral, the urethral, and the perineal sponges in our vulva. And there are all these little funny chutes and valleys and nooks and crannies, and it just takes us longer to get engorged. So what happens is that most people have penetration way too soon. I mean, you want to get fucked. You're excited. You're with your lover and you're like, okay, let's go. But the problem is you're actually doing it before your body is really, really turned on and warmed up and fluffed up and engorged and tumesced and full of blood. And so the reason that women struggle to have orgasms from intercourse is not because there wasn't enough time spent on their clit before penetration, but more that there was not enough overall time spent on total body foreplay and getting all that juiciness going, getting our pussy to lubricate and getting our salivary glands, getting everything just like flowing and juicy and turned on. So, one of the things that really helps is kissing and nipple stimulation. Your clit has to get an erection, and you actually have a clitoral tip, a glans, and you have a clitoral shaft. You have a little mini penis as a woman, and then it has little arms and little legs. And you have that G-spot or urethral sponge that has to get full of blood, and the perineal sponge between the bottom of your vagina and your rectum has to get blood flow in it. And if you're nervous at all, or stressed out, or not relaxed, or in a hurry, or with a new partner, or worried your pussy doesn't smell right or look right, or your stomach looks fat, or your butt looks fat, or the millions of things you're worried about, if you're not completely relaxed and feeling confident and turned on, if you have performance anxiety, oh my God, what if I can't come? What if it doesn't feel good? Is that vaginal infection really gone? Like there's a million reasons that hold us back from really being able to relax and let everything flow. Then we miss the pleasure that is really our birthright for penetration. So penetration orgasms, they are a learned skill, and you get better and better at them. Your body gets more used to engorging and being turned on the more that you do it. Like even when you just masturbate more often than when you actually have partnered sex, your body responds faster. So there is just a lot to the actual preparation and relaxation that goes into being penetrated that I think is really something that people skip over and don't spend enough time thinking about or preparing for or giving time and energy and intention.
This podcast is free to you because of our incredible sponsors like Helix Sleep. Getting good sleep is one of the healthiest things you can do for yourself, and the benefits of sleep go on and on, from living longer to reducing stress to boosting your immune system. And let's face it, a fabulous mattress can even improve your sex life. At least it did for me. Helix makes it easy and painless for you to find your perfect mattress no matter what your sleep needs may be. Just go to helixsleep.com/shameless and take the 2-minute sleep quiz, and Helix will match you to a mattress that just may give you the best sleep of your life.
I'm a hot sleeper, so it's important for me to have a mattress that cools me down and isn't too soft. And Helix matched me to the midnight mattress. And guess what? I'm feeling more rested and ready to conquer the shit out of each day. If your mattress is making you tired, go to helixsleep.com/shameless now, because Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/shameless. Go get your sleep on. Go get your sleep on. Now. This podcast is free to you because another one of our amazing sponsors like Dipsea. If you're like me, you need more self-care, with erotic self-care being at the top of my priority list. Dipsea makes it easy to focus on giving yourself pleasure anytime, anywhere. Dipsea Stories is an app full of sexy audio stories that help you get turned on and into your sensual body. There are hundreds of stories to choose from, and they release new content every week, so there's always more to explore. And they have wellness sessions to help you wind down and sleep sessions to help you drift off.
I recently listened to Secret Rooms 1 on my way to my partner's house, all about a hot, intense hookup with everything from spanking, whips, and chains. And you better believe I arrived more turned on than ever. The sex that followed was mind-blowing. And now you too can crank up the heat, because Dipsea is offering our listeners an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/shameless. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to dipseastories.com/shameless. dipseastories.com/shameless. Go check it out. And now back to the show. And so one of the questions I was going to ask you, but I think you just covered it, was for the folks, the vulva owners that say, I have a hard time having orgasm from penetration. So what I'm hearing from you is that you're saying you need more time, and it's not just more time rubbing your clit. It's actually the entire body, and this whole way of getting your butt. And actually, don't go right for the clit. Go for the entire body first, and then the clit. Like, you're starting from these other layers first, and that it takes more time generally than most penis owners. So what about for the penis owning folks then, who really want to fuck their partner real good, but they want to do it in a way that leads to orgasms? Is it that they need to be initiators and be more on board for taking a lot more time for this foreplay/full body play? Like, do you have any other things? I remember you also saying penis and vagina size, the match of them also kind of matter too. So yeah, what else do you have to say about those pieces?
Sure. Well, a lot of women, it's interesting, as you age, the penis shrinks and the vulva gets more lax. It gets open, wider. And you lose pelvic musculature, and you lose your grip and your orgasmic contraction. We atrophy as we age. So there are a lot of really good sexual regenerative treatments and practices, everything from, for men, the Gaines Waves, penis pumps, Phoenix Pros; for women, the V-Fit, the O shot; for men, the P shot. There are things that you can do to keep your pelvic musculature and the tissues plump. But really, the best thing for all of that is it is use it or lose it in many cases. Women and men, people of all gender expression, who have more sex as they age and stay in good shape and eat leafy green vegetables and do exercise that gets their blood moving, have better sexual function for their entire lives. And many of my fans and followers are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s and having the best sex of their life. That's another thing that I think is a myth, is that people think that the best sex you'll ever have is in your 20s. That's really, if you are a sexual seeker, a person who believes that they're kind of personal growth oriented and that they can learn new skills all the time, and sexual skills are one of the things that they can learn, then they get better and better and have more and more intensely orgasmically satisfying sex as they age. I'm definitely a living testament to that, and as are my partners. Who we're all in our late 40s to mid 60s. So I think that's also something very important, is that if you put in, you get out. I think that how to fuck well, and we women, especially in my generation, I'm about a generation ahead of you too. We were kind of raised to be the receivers of fucking. We got fucked. We didn't fuck. And I fucked.
Of course.
But the girls of our generation, we didn't necessarily, we were more passive. We were more the receptacles, the receivers of the fucking. That's another thing that I want to change people's thinking about. And that is that you can fuck as well as being fucked the whole time you're having intercourse. Intercourse can be a very active experience. If you think about a lot of different things, the first would be shallow thrusts and deep thrusts. Where you're aiming your penis, are you aiming it up, down? It's kind of like a gun whale. It's like where you point it, it goes.
Is that penis pivots?
And you could.
Is that same?
Yes,
okay.
Penis pivots. Exactly. Okay. Penis pivots. I learned this from Billy Sunday Mars. You know, you can stroke the G spot. You can stroke the perineal sponge. You can stroke the sides of the vagina where the pudendal nerves run down, and that increases turn on. You can go deep and high up into the cervical area. You can do shallow thrusts to the entrance of the vagina. I have a technique called thrust in time. I don't think I've talked about that with you before. It's basically a 2,000-year-old Taoist sexual practice that I updated for the 21st century that solves the biggest problem with intercourse for couples, which is he comes too fast and she struggles to come. And the technique is a 10 count of thrusting with shallow, short strokes and deep, long strokes. And basically, and you can download it at thrustintime.com and you'll get more information. But just lightly, as you're listening here on Shameless Sex, the technique is a 10 count where you do 9 shallow strokes and then a long, deep stroke, and then 8 shallow strokes and then 2 long, deep, slow strokes. Really get in there deep as you can. And then you do 7 and 3 and 6 and 4. And by the time you get to 5 and 5 or 4 and 6, she's had her first penetration orgasm. Because for most people, what a typical guy is thinking is he's got to just pound her. He's got to go in and out and in and out. I mean, they hear the bed springs in the hotel room next door. You know? And they think that's what, or they watch porn and they're like, boom, 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 boom. And they think that's what's going to get her off. And yes, sometimes I personally love a good pounding. I got nothing wrong with that, but that's not the place to start. It doesn't give your tissue enough time to get the blood flow and the resiliency in there for the sensation to feel good. The reason that you need the blood flow is that if your vulva is not engorged, it's small and flaccid, like a flaccid penis. And the more blood's in there, the more it plumps up and puffs up. You've seen your vulva after you've had like a 2-day fuck fest, right? It looks all big and plump and ripe and juicy. It
Got
looks
an ice
gorgeous
pack on there sometimes. I'm like, damn it.
That did good work.
Exactly. Well, what's nice is when it's all plumped up like that, it actually has more surface area, which sends more pleasure signals to the brain so that you actually have more pleasure. So when you think about these short strokes alternating with these deep penetrative strokes, you're toggling the nervous system and you're giving the body time to build up some blood flow. So that when she gets to number 4 or number 5 deep strokes, that's starting to feel really, really good to her. The other thing that I think is a good one is when she's also actively squeezing his penis. This is called pompoir by the French. There are many traditional indigenous heritages of this notion that we can milk a cock with our vaginal muscles. And the more that we become active as a participant, not just receiving the sliding penis and the friction, but we're actually playing with the penis with our own pelvic musculature, the more we start to get those contractions going. So if we've had a hot makeout, lots of French kissing, lots of breast play, lots of nipple play, we've gotten the juices running, our pussy's starting to contract, then we've had a nice pussy massage, we've gotten it all lubed up, we've gotten the mons played with, the outer labia played with, our sweet little butt cheeks, the inner labia, we've had our clitoral tip played with, our clit has popped, and we have a gorgeous little clit erection. And then we've had some fingering on the entrance to our vagina, the little sphincter muscle, a finger inside, rolling around on the inside, stroking the top of our vaginal canal so that our G-spot starts to swell and pop out of our vagina as all of our lips plump up. And we begin to really want that penis inside us. And then we get the short strokes and we get the long strokes and we're squeezing and we're milking and we're rubbing our bodies together and our hands are rubbing all over our bodies. So many people, they barely use their hands when they make love. They're just rubbing their parts together without stroking, kissing hair, kissing eyelids, kissing necks, giving hickeys. You know, there's so much pleasure to to awaken the entire sensual grid. All of that should be like lit up like a Christmas tree before you're penetrating. I think those things are very, very important pieces of great intercourse. And then there's really 3 different kinds of orgasms that you can have. You can have orgasms that are generated from the different locations that you touch in your body. So nipple-gasms, mouth-gasms, throat-gasms, orgasms from going down on a penis, orgasms from your clitoris, your G-spot, your vaginal orgasm or cervical orgasm. People use those kind of interchangeably. They can be one or the other. Anal gasms, of course. There's foot-gasms. There's belly-gasms. Some people call core-gasms. There's all these different stimulating areas. Then there's techniques like the thrust and time technique or expanded orgasm or female ejaculation. Lots of women can squirt while they're being penetrated. They can have blended orgasms. So, a G-spot stimulation with clitoral stimulation. It could be a penis inside you with a toy on your clit. You can have those. And then you can have objects like sex toys. And I do want to talk about some sex toys that I think are really good for incorporating into fucking as well. Those are, you just start to think about the dimensionality of how to create orgasmic pleasure from penetration. It's not just about the penis in the vagina. It's so much more when you expand the palette of stimulation.
And we'll get into sex toys in just a moment. And before we do, because we love talking to you about sex toys. I love talking about sex toys. And before we do, let's touch on some positions, like favorite positions, because you've talked a lot about some hand positions, and I love the technique names that are the pompoir. I love pompoir. We'll get into that later. And so what are some of your favorite positions for fucking?
Yeah. I would say I have a really good little book called, it's a freebie. It's called 7 Stimulating Sex Positions. It's at 7positions.com, the number 7 and the word positions.com. And that's my favorite 7 positions. One of them is more of an oral position. It's called chingalinga. But the other ones are intercourse positions. One's called headboard daddy. I really love that because that's a cowgirl type of sex position. My cowgirl game has gotten so strong in the last couple of years. I've really been focusing on making myself come on my partner's cock. So instead of them fucking me, I'm fucking them. And it's interesting. I recently was quoted in an article on Inside Hook. I don't know if have you been in Inside Hook? You might have even been in some of those articles recently. I see you get quoted a lot now, which I'm really happy about. And it was about a man who feels like he's a submissive. And he has a hard time finding women who want to be with him. And I really think that it's a terminology issue. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I want to stay with fucking and I'm going to get right back to cowgirl, but it really needs to be said. Just like learning how to orgasm from intercourse is really, really important if you're going to be with a penis owner. It's not that they need to spend all their time just on your clit. You can literally, once you're engorged, you can come without touching the tip of your clit from intercourse. You don't need to even have any external clitoral stimulation because your clit's all your erectile tissue is wrapped around your vagina. So the stroking and the penetration and the contractions and you working it are all giving you orgasms. You just have to create the neural pathways and get the engorgement and the stimulation and it'll happen. You will be able to cross the gasm chasm and start to orgasm from intercourse. But some men, they think because we've taught men that they're the ones that need to ravish us. They're the ones that need to, penetrate us. It's all about them sticking their dick in us. And I don't think that's really serving anyone. And this notion of being submissive or dominant, or this notion of being a bottom or a top, these are all what I consider to be patriarchal, old school bullshit concepts, old sexual semantics that we need to retire. Because as we women become more switchy, as we move into our sexuality, as we become as good at fucking as our penis owning partners, then who's running the sensation and who's receiving the sensation goes away. That's an old, outmoded concept. When you are simultaneously co-creating pleasure together, whether I'm the one who's moving a little more or a little less, or whether I'm the one who's on top, and I've been doing this thing lately to recover from COVID. I know April and I were talking about how we both had COVID. And one of the things that I've been doing to recover from it is I've been working out every single day with a trainer. I work out 7 days a week.
Wow.
And I just got back from working out. And one of the things I can do now is I can get over my lover and I can squat down on the bed on my haunches because I've got some mad quads these days. I got some seriously succulent gluteus maximus. And I can get down on him and kind of just hold his shoulders or hold his hands. And I can just go up and down and slide up and down on his cock with my whole body while I'm straddling him. And I have plenty of energy to do that. And oh my God, I can put that penis right where I want it. I mean, I started out just on my knees and on my shins, if you will, and my knees, just kind of going up and down. And then as I got stronger and stronger, now I'm like up there, like the great ape of the universe, just like, just like going crazy on him. He's not a submissive man, but I'm fucking the shit out of him and I'm coming all over him like crazy. So why wouldn't any guy in the world want a woman who is like getting off on his cock in the best possible way to not do that? So I just want to release the submissive dominant thing. And I want to encourage women to like use your legs, use your muscles, get on top, learn how to come with his cock as your tool for pleasure, and throw a vibe on your clit. Have him play with your nipples. Have him I have 6 things I want to tell you about what to say during fucking. I wrote them down. I've got them right here with me because I wanted to make sure I said them on the show. Because you know me, I like to give like here's the exact.
Yes,
things
that's
to
what
do.
we love you.
Yes.
Yes. So good.
People are like, wait, can I press pause and you write all the notes?
No, yeah, write it down.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is that this is all in my book, my Dirty Talk book, which I've given away on your show before at dirtytalkbook.com.
I know, each one has a website too. That's why I love you. You're like, this is the website. I'm like, perfect.
Oh, yes. I got URLs for everything. I got so many good URLs. You know, Tim, he always gets me all the best URLs.
Thanks, Tim.
I know.
He's the best.
So this is another aspect of fabulous fucking, which is, okay, now, are you just fucking and you're not saying anything? There's no moaning. I mean, a lot of guys, they want to hear you. They want to hear your moans. And they're like, I love it when you moan for me because I need the feedback. It really, really helps me.
A lot of
and I'm
people like me, I like when the guy is audible, like a penis owner that I'm fucking.
Right.
That turns me on so much. Sometimes I can watch porn that just has dudes making audibles and it turns me on. So it can go both ways, right?
It's like, that's words.
Like, yeah, I don't mind either. No. I just want to know that there's enjoyment. When there's silent fucking, I'm like, this is fucking boring. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Just
exactly. Because and no, that's exactly what I was going to say was if you are asking me to give you feedback, you need to give me feedback too. The moaning has to go both ways. A lot of guys, here's the thing about guys. They want to do a great job. They want to give us incredible pleasure. And so they need the feedback so they know they're on the right spots. We're having orgasms, etc. Of course they want us to moan. And the thing is that moaning is also a learned skill. Making those sounds, you have to make yourself do it. But it has to go both ways. He needs to be as audible as you are. If he expects and wants it from you, you need to also expect it from him. And don't be afraid to ask for it because it's not your job to be the only one making noise. That's important. A lot of what I do is permission. Like, it's okay. You can tell him he has to make noise. You can demand that of him too. And he'll be like, okay, I'll give it a try. And then it turns into something really sexy. The more you moan, the better you get at it and the hotter your sex gets. But the other ones are, a lot of people for dirty talk, they're like, well, I don't want to say the wrong things and I don't want to weird my partner out and I'm not sure what to say. So here's how to do it. The first one is focus on the effect that the partner is having on you. What are they doing that's feeling really, really good to you? Oh, I love it when you're teasing the opening of my pussy with the tip of your cock. It feels so good when you just about slide it in and then you don't. And I just want to suck it in. Oh God, it feels so good, you know? And then they know that you like that and they're not just going to shove their dick right in. Say what you see. Your pussy looks so ripe and succulent to me. I love how it's the little labia started out as pink and then they got all purple at the edges and they're so frilly. And when I lay them open, they look like a butterfly. And I just want to lick my tongue from the top to the bottom and back up again. It's so succulent. Or share how you're feeling. Oh my God, I am so turned on right now. I'm so horny for you. I don't know what it is about when we get together, but I fucking love to fuck you. You know, whatever you want to say. You share how you're feeling. I'm just making stuff up. Tell a sexy story. I like to get a pussy rub and have my lover tell me a sexy story. Sir Tim is fantastic at this dirty, sexy story. He'll make up a little thing and he'll tell me a sexy story the whole time he's giving me a pussy rub with warm oil. And we'll do that as foreplay before we have intercourse. And what's nice about it is that he'll offer me a pussy rub with no expectation that I'm going to fuck him. And 95% of the time I want to, and 5% of the time I don't. And he is totally fine with that. And because the less he puts pressure on me, the more I actually want to have sex. That's definitely a trick that's important for men to understand more often than women, or at least the high desire partner. That when you're just focused on intercourse, you're way ahead of your lower desire partner and they need more time to warm up. So telling them a sexy story while you're touching their body and relaxing them, because arousal begins in relaxation. The more that you tell them that sexy story, the more that they start to get the auditory as well as the physical arousal. So sexy stories. We talked about moaning and verbal feedback so that your lover knows you're getting turned on and that turns you on. It's a virtuous cycle. It's an upward pleasure spiral. The more you moan and the more they moan, the more turned on you get, and the more you moan and the more turned on you get, the more you moan. And then at the end, after sex, is something I like to call sharing frames. I learned this from one of my most important sexual mentors of my life, Dr. Patty Taylor. She's the one that taught me about expanded orgasm. She's the one that helped us, my husband and I, we have an almost 20-year expanded orgasm practice, which is a clitoral stroking technique similar to orgasmic meditation, deliberate orgasm, extended massive orgasm. Didn't you just go see Alicia and Erwan recently?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the welcome consensus, these are we're all disciples of this practice. We all teach a different, like a slightly different version of it, but it's a 5-stroke technique. And one of the things that is part of her practice is this sharing frames idea, which is after you've had sex, talk about something that it's sharing a body-based experience, a snapshot, a frame, a moment in time, like a Polaroid picture, an old Polaroid picture of a really erotic body-based moment that you had. And when you do that, you give your lover a piece of the turn on that you experienced and some insight into something that you loved that they could never imagine was one of the hottest moments of the scene that you just had. It's a really nice kind of after sex lying in each other's arms just before you make them a sandwich scenario. So just to recap that, so you can remember, it's in Dirty Talk book, and I give very specific examples, kind of like I did. I give you a whole bunch of them. Focus on the effect your partner's having on you. Say what you see. Share how you're feeling. Tell a sexy story. Give a lot of moaning and verbal feedback, and share frames after your lovemaking. And those will amplify everything that you're doing on a physical level to bond you together and to expand your turn on.
Okay, time for a quick break.
This podcast is free to you because of our amazing sponsors such as Uberlube. Uberlube is a luxurious silicone lubricant that can enhance your sex and intimacy. Uberlube's unique formula is velvety, long-lasting, with no flavor or scent, and it feels absolutely incredible on the body. There are thousands of doctors recommending Uberlube to their patients because it's less likely to throw off your pH than most other lubes. So whether you want to make your hot sex even hotter or you want to prevent dryness, take our advice and check out our favorite go-to Uberlube.
Uberlube isn't just for sex. I use it for massage, to tame my frizzy hair, to prevent chafing, even for oral sex sessions. I love how it comes in a beautiful bottle with a pump top for easy access, appearing more like a cosmetic product, so you can leave it on your nightstand shamelessly. Uberlube is without a doubt my favorite lube, and countless listeners agree, often stating, "We never knew lube could be this good." To learn why we think it's the best lube on the planet, check out uberlube.com and use code SHAMELESSSEX for 10% off and free shipping. Again, that's uberlube.com, use code SHAMELESSSEX for 10% off and free shipping. This podcast was also made possible by OMGS.com. OMGS combines scientific research of real vulva owners so you can learn shame-free techniques on how to pleasure the pussy. OMGS studied 20,000 plus people of all ages and turned the research into animated modules, short videos, and beautiful infographics that are tasteful and easy to understand. Whether you want to learn about external pleasure, internal stimulation, or techniques with toys, OMGS can help you master vulva pleasure. Let me tell you, I've been recommending OMGS to my clients for years, and it's been changing their lives because knowledge really can activate your pleasure power.
OMGS is for anyone who cares about vulva pleasure and wants to take it to the next level. OMGS can help you become a sexual strategist by equipping you with the tools you need to unlock your pleasure potential. Plus, your OMGS purchase helps fund more pleasure research. OMG, that's wonderful. Only pay once, and these techniques are yours forever. That's right, this is not a subscription service, and you don't need to download a thing. So go to omgs.com/shameless to get 10% off when you purchase any OMGS season. Again, go to omgs.com/shameless to get 10% off right now. Time to pursue your pleasure. And now, back to the show.
Susan Bratton is officially my spirit animal. Every time. Everyone I agree.
We're like, we love
Meow.
So I'm going to combine these last two questions because they are about kind of more products too, because one is about strap-ons and that's products. But so, okay, you were mentioning sex toys earlier. So what are your top sex toy recommendations for folks who are partnering, for couples who want to fuck and add a sex toy to it? And then also, what about strap-ons, vulva and vulva action and pegging, if you have any input to share on that piece as well? I know you do, so I'm really excited for it because it's really good. It's gems. It's pure gems.
I'm so glad. Well, there are two sex toys that I think every couple should have. One is a vibrator, and there are a lot of different styles of vibrators, and I think every clitoris owner should have one of each at least. So whether you're talking about an air stimulator, like a womanizer type of a thing, or you're talking about a bullet vibe, like the Digit from Hot Octopus, which I think is a really nice low profile bullet vibe, or you're talking about the Volta from Fun Factory, which is kind of like a little tongue lappy clit tickler. Some women, that's their favorite type of vibration. Isn't really a vibration. It's more like a what would you call that? What do you call that, April?
Well, like a tickler.
It almost,
kind of, right?
well, it kind of gyrates because it's silicone that doesn't have anything inside of it. So it's just pure silicone. And they're almost like little tongues that kind of, with the vibration, they kind of go, but there's no motor. Well, there's no motor inside. It's just a silicone flapping against itself. So it's not really rough on the body. It's softer. Yeah. So you can kind of play with the amount of pressure that you want to give on yourself.
Yes. So I like that. I like the vibes. And with vibes, of course, there's the rumbly vibe and there's the buzzy vibe. So another one that I like is the Curve.
I was going to say that. That's such a good one.
Curve with a K.
Yes.
The Curve with a K has a treble and a bass, or a rumble and a buzz. And what I also love about it is that it's great for the clit, but it's really great for the G spot as well. So I like to run it from my clit down my slit and into my G spot and back up my slit to
From
my
the clit to the
down
slit.
again.
That's the new hashtag. Yes.
From the clit to the slit. Exactly. So that's nice. And, I think that it's important to have those different types of vibrators and to hold one on your clit while you're having penetration sex to help you do some orgasmic cross training, because this is something I learned from Sherry Winston, was this notion of orgasmic cross training, where you do the thing you know will make you come with the thing you want to learn how to come from. So the two things that helped me cross the gasm chasm and come from penetration intercourse, number one was this orgasmic cross training, putting the vibe on my clit while Tim was fucking me so that I would start to come while he was penetrating me. Because it used to be that when we would have sex and he would enter me, it would take my energy down. It was like this this kind of like obtuse object that didn't add to my turn on. His penis didn't add to my turn on until he started having what I call a heart tongue. He used the heart tongue technique, which is also something I've called in the past the conscious cock. The cock that isn't just this kind of one-eyed blind snake going into your cave willy-nilly, but it's this feeling, sensing, energetic. The cock is connected to my heart. When I penetrate you, I'm shooting love into you. It's not this dull, blunt instrument. It's an alive, connected, energetic, piece of your body that's moving in my vagina and touching different places and things like that. And when he brought his heart tongue, thinking about it less as just like a piston and more as like this agile fingering, licking, heart loving thing. And I had that had that vibe on my clit and I started to come. That just really worked together to help me have orgasms from penetration. Then I didn't need the vibrator on my clit anymore. I could start to come just from his cock. But it was really the expanded orgasms, the pussy massage and the clitoral stroke, the super light clitoral stroke that we teach in expanded orgasm. You can get information about that at expandherorgasmtonight.com. There's a free book that explains what expanded orgasm is, what the practice is, and how the 5 strokes work. That really helped me start coming because a lot of women overdrive their clit. That's another thing that keeps women from having intercourse.
Like overstimulate it?
Overstimulated. Okay. They're too hard on their clit. A lot of guys write to me and they're like, my wife only wants to have one orgasm and I want to give her a whole bunch of orgasms. How come she's only a one and done? And it's because she's working so hard to bang out that first cum that she's worn out the sensitivity in her clitoral structure for the time being. This is why people say, oh, don't use a vibrator because you won't be able to come from regular stuff. That's bullshit. You just have to, vibrators help you learn how to come, and the different types of sex toys help you learn how to come from different types of sensation. But your clit can come from the lightest touch. The other day, I was having an expanded orgasm date with my boyfriend, and he was touching my clit so lightly that it was like, when you get an eyelash on your eyeball, you get an eyelash in your eye and you have to touch your eye to get that eyelash out of your eye. And sometimes maybe you lick your fingertip and then you just touch your eye and you just get that little eyelash out, and it's the lightest little touch right with the pad of your finger. He was touching my clit and my shaft of my clit, because as I've become more orgasmic over the last 40 years, I can come from just the lightest of touch now, which is because I've activated all those neural pathways, and my body gets engorged really well because I focused on engorging it. So these are the things that really help you come and come and come and come and come. And not only come, but come in expanded ways. So you go into the moment of orgasm, and then you stretch that moment of orgasm out. So time lengthens. It's like pulling taffy. It's not a, I came, boo, I'm done. It's, ooh, I'm in it. And then I'm just in it and 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 in it. And I'm at the peak of climax for seconds at a time. And then I take a little break and I go into another climax that's even more intense and lasts even longer. I can come for over an hour and just be 90% of the time in peak climax from the lightest of touch now. And that's a wonderful experience. That helps you really enjoy and relax around sex because you know you don't have any problems coming.
And so you can apply this because we didn't touch on pegging and we're running out of time. Unfortunately, this is why we have you on our show so many times, because you have so much great information
on that in the future, right?
We can, just to touch on it though, most of these techniques and tips you can apply to a non-flesh cock. You can apply to a silicone cock, depending if you're wearing a double dildo, if you're a vaginal vagina owner, penetrating a vagina owner, you can use a silicone cock in the same way. And we will touch on pegging, but will you just give a brief rundown really quickly before we let people know how to find and work with you on pegging? Because we did promise that. So I don't want to leave people hanging if they've been waiting for that.
Good looking out, Chip.
Well, I saved my best technique for last for pegging.
Perfect.
And before we move on from that, I want to cover off on the sex toys. There are two sex toys I talked about. One was the vibrator. The other one is a cock ring. And there are two cock rings I recommend. And it depends on whether you are with a partner who has, if he is a premature ejaculator or not. And by premature ejaculator, I mean he doesn't quite last as long as he wants to. We could do a whole episode on that, trust me. And I have solutions to all of it. However, I like at cockringvibe.com, I recommend the NOS, N-O-S, from Fun Factory. Cock Ring Vibe. That's all you have to remember. That is a really good vibrator for penetrative intercourse. If you are not someone who has to worry about coming too fast, and especially if you like prostate orgasms, and if you have any loss of sensitivity or any struggle to climax or any delayed ejaculation, or if you just love your balls tickled, then the cock ring I recommend is called the Atom Plus Lux.
Hot octopus, everybody. Hot octopus. What's up?
Hot octopus. And that's at Cock Ball Vibe, because that's a cock ring that also buzzes your balls. It buzzes her clit and your
I helped
balls.
design
So
that, by the way. I helped
vibe.
design that one because it was so necessary. And it also is good for vulva owners because you can grind on the external portion of that. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm so happy that you suggested that cock ring because it's my fucking favorite. I love it.
Is that cockballvibe.com? I assume. Okay,
yep.
cool.
Cockball Vibe.
Cockballvibe.com or cockringvibe.com if you don't want the ball, the second vibrator for him. The Cockball Vibe has the vibrator for her and for him. It's a double vibrating cock ring with a remote control. So she can get on. And this is another thing too. When you're learning how to use your pussy to fuck, you want to not only do the sliding, you want to do the grinding. Grinding and sliding are the two different skills that you want to think about if you're the vulva owner, as well as the squeezing, the pompoir, the squeezing. That's your dimensionality when you're thinking about what to do. Now, let's finish it off with the grand finale sex technique, which is called glissando.
I love it already.
It already sounds like it's going to make me come.
I just did.
Yeah.
I think I just did too. Glissando. I like to say it with an accent, kind of a little Spanish, a little Italiano. It's definitely the kind of thing that I would want to do with a very hunky guy with long hair and big pecs. And a very tan.
Yes, please.
Ciao, Bella. Here is your glissando. So you can do this with a strap on, and you can do this with a penis. This is a really nice one. Okay, so almost everything that we've been talking about so far with fucking has been the penis going in and out of the vagina, or the vagina pumping up and down, in and out on the penis. Short strokes, long strokes, deep strokes, shallow strokes, side to side.
Sound like a Dr.
cock.
Seuss book right now. Short strokes, long strokes, big strokes, short strokes.
But for dicks.
But here's a really nice one. And my favorite position to do this in is doggy style. And this is where instead, and let's just say that, let's just say that you're bent over and you're kind of down on your hands or your elbows, or your face is on the bed or whatever, and your butt's up in the air. And your partner's behind you with his penis, or your partner's behind you with their strap-on on. And they have your hips in their hand, and they are moving you on and off their strap-on. So they're not fucking you. They're not pumping with their strap-on or their dick. They're moving your pussy up and down on their strap-on, their penis-shaped object, whether that be their own body or an add-on. And when you allow yourself to completely relax, because remember, arousal begins in relaxation. The more fluid you are, the more you let yourself go and surrender your body to your partner, and you have them moving and sliding your pussy on and off of them, that is an entirely different feeling. So that's glissando, and it flips the script on the normal way you think about penetration. So I just wanted to leave you with that, because the more fluidly you are pulled onto, and here's the thing, rocking sensations. And remember when we started out with the short, shallow strokes and the long, deep strokes, and the alternating, the counting, the 10 count, that's the thrust in time piece of it. If you think about glissando and you think about short, smooth, long, deep, short, smooth, long, deep, then it is the most wonderful sensation. That's glissando.
All right, that was a crescendo to the conclusion of the show, which before we say our goodbye to you, which we don't like to do, it's going to be a see you soon. How can people find you, work with you? We gave a bunch of good websites, but overall, can you just let people know how to work with you and find more of Susan Bratton, please?
Sure. I don't do any one-on-one coaching or any individual work. I'm a publisher of passionate lovemaking techniques, which you can find at personallifemedia.com. The expanded orgasm practice and female ejaculation, steamy sex ed, the passion patch, revive her drive, the seduction trilogy. These are some of my most popular titles. All of the things that I mentioned today were free. The Dirty Talk book, etc. And Thrust in Time was one I mentioned. I don't remember all the stuff I mentioned. Those are all just free things you can download. You can follow me on Instagram at Susan Bratton, my name. That's mostly just where I post pictures of my boobs and stuff. That's just
they're fabulous,
by the way. They're worth a look.
If you're going to be a sexpert, you might as well be sexy. That's what I think. And I like to represent for my age group. I mean, I really think women of all ages are beautiful, and it's important important. Most of us love our sexual self-expression and to be admired. And I think it's important for us to all do that. And I've been loving the pictures and the photo shoots the two of you have been doing too. I see you evolving in that, and I applaud you and love you for it. So thank you.
Thanks,
We
Susan.
love you. Yeah,
A spirit animal.
I think about you often in my life when I'm doing something like that. Would Susan do this? Because you're just such a badass, not only businesswoman, you're so smart and talented, and you really are the intimacy expert to millions, even if they're under 60 or your age. Like, I feel like you have great information that spans on not only hetero couples or folks that are into polyamory, but you just have great stuff. This is why you'll be back on the show. So don't worry. Don't get sad if you're crying, because Susan will be back. I know I do. And to all of you out there, thank you, Susan. And to all of you out there listening, we love you. Please go ahead and show your love for us. Go on iTunes, give us 5 stars, give us whatever stars, but we love reading each and every one of your reviews. And it just helps more folks out there find people like Susan Bratton. And it's free for people to listen to out there. This is a free resource. So please go ahead and give us 5 stars. We need those, and we read every single one. We love you. Thank you for being part of the Shameless Sex Revolution. We'll see you next Tuesday. Ciao for now.
Want to learn more? Go to shamelesssex.com. And for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, go to purepleasureshop.com.